How many migraines I got. I don't know how much Tums I've eaten and how much aspirin I've had over the project. I've rewritten this project 3 times already, and I think it's at a final stage where it can be released to the public for their review. I've had a beta. It hasn't been exactly that great, but we finally got it. So what this is a web-based conversion tool that will take vendor files from the most popular tool vendors and the most popular CNC machines that are out there, and convert those files over to something that MillMage, which is written by LightBurn, can understand. So without further ado, we're going to start the process of looking at the program and how it can be used. So today we're going to talk about the tool conversion from the vendor's tool files to something that MillMage can understand. And this program was written first of all in Java, and then I converted a lot of it over to web format so that more people can use it. I had a problem with Mac. That was the main problem. So the first thing we do is we just go here and we put in our address, and that should bring up this particular form here, MillMage tool log. Now, since you're usually a registered user, new user, you go into here, and there will be some terms of use, and just read them, please, and make sure you really understand everything that you're getting into. If you do everything good, you're going to have to register. Okay, so just put your first name in, and a last name, whatever you want to be called when you're playing around with this. It has to be unique in the system. So let's say we're beta tester 1, and I'm going to put in a password here. Okay, got my password in, and I'm going to put an email in over here. So I'm going to use okay. Now once I have that, I just say submit, and what it should do is send me something over here, and that tells me that I'm a new beta tester or a new user, and this is my name. Don't use beta tester, use something a little bit more specific to you. And a mail has been sent. Okay. When you get the mail, you should see the following. Okay, you should see something that looks similar to this. Welcome to MillMage Tool Converter. And it's going to say registration completion. All you need to do is click on this, and it'll take you right back to the tool. And if everything is good, it'll say registration is completed. Okay, so you've registered. And now let's go ahead and start playing. So the next step would be to do a login. So we go login here, and this should be already preset for you the first time. And I'm not going to request a reset at this time. I'm just going to do a login. And that should get you to this page right here. All right, this is the actual one that you're going to see all the time. And it's very simple. We have a convert, we have an edit, we have a merge, something with machine specs, and adjust, history, about, and logout. Well, about, we'll just give you this form here, and the only thing you should see on it is this program tool conversion, and I'll talk a little bit down here. There's nothing else to it. You can go home. The history All that does is it tells you all of the work that I've done to make this thing happen. And maybe if there's a version that conflicts with what you've got, uh, you can see what I've done. And most of the time you're going to be using this convert tool right over here. So let's try to do a convert. So if I click on convert, it's going to give you this menu. And what we're going to do is we're going to choose a file. So I'll go into my directory and try to find some files that I want to convert. So I go down, and what I got here is I got some VTB, which is Vectrix. I got a JSON file from Fusion 360. I have, let's see what else we got. We got a TDB, which is a CarveCo, and I have a CarbideCreate, which is a CSV. So let's start off with the let's do a CarveCo first. That's a really complicated one. I bring that in, and there it is. And this is the name that the file will have once it's fully converted. And you do want to review results. So I may take this little checkbox off at the end, and I'm going to hit the convert file. So now the file is being converted, and after it gets done conversion, it will pop up a review screen. And to be honest with you, I'm probably going to put a progress bar here on the bottom so that you can see that something's happening, as otherwise you wouldn't. So if everything in the world is correct and there's no errors, you should see something like this. And this will be the results of the conversion. So I can now look down through here and page through and see if there's anything wrong that I don't want. So, there could be something wrong with the conversion, but, look at it carefully. And if you're happy with it, fine. Everything that has the 0 entries is in slight pink over here. Don't worry about it. Just because it has a 0 doesn't mean it is an error. It's just something for you to look at. So if I scroll down, you'll see there are some entries in here. And go down some more. I've got some weird entries here. These are probably angles. Yep, that's the angles for this silver tool here. And go down here. Yeah, okay. There's some conical tools, some solid carbide tools. Everything looks okay to me. So the next thing I would do is I would say download converted tool library. And bang. It doesn't take really long to do that. And now this is the converted tool library. Now because I've done this so many times, it won't overwrite the name. But what it does is it puts a parentheses on it, but that's Windows 11. Mac does something different, Linux would do something different. But this is the conversion right here. So it's in my download directory. Now I'm going to bring up MillMage over here, and I'm going to go to CNC Tools, Tool Library, and I'm going to load the library. And it's in my downloads, so I'm going to go here, and let's see, converted, and it was number 5, that's this one. And I'll open it up. And look at that. It brought in all of these tools. Okay. So, but this is usually too many tools. What you really want to do is only pull the tools that you want out of here and use that and do a merge. And that's really one of the other nice things about this. So I'm going to close this out here. Cancel. And what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to go back to the program. Over here. Go home. So we've already converted a file. So now we can do some edits if we really want to. So we'll take an edit and we choose the file we want to edit. And I got a bunch of them that I've converted, so let's try that one over here. And open that up and load it. So now you can see that we're going to have all of the categories of the different types of um, tools that we're going to look at. And I think we'll pick some mills. And let's look at the beast. And there we are. You can just toggle down this list over here, and it'll show you what that tool looks like. But let's go back to the beast here. And you notice that I still have capabilities to look over here or down here. So I'm going to go back to the beast, and I'm just going to click metric. And as soon as I click any of the items and change any of the items, it automatically grays out here. So now the only thing I have a choice of is to save it or delete. So if I decide to save it, this is the beast, and I'm saying that it's a, let's see what we got here, that it's metric, and I save it. So now you can see that if I go to a different tool, metric's not checked. I go back to the beast, and metric is checked. So anyways, this would be fake because obviously the pass depth is 25.4. No, that's good. That's metric. The step over is metric. All of this is good. Diameter is metric. So yeah, this really should have been a metric tool. So anyways, I got that part done. So then once you have done all your saving and editing and anything, you could download the modified file. And that would be just all you have to do is hit that. And it'll take you to this menu. You do that. And this is the file that will be transferred over to your machine. Okay, so I'm just going to kill that out of here because I don't want that in my uploads file. A merge is pretty cool. And what a merge allows you to do is you have downloaded this file. Now there are some files that have like 800 tools in them. And obviously we don't need all 800 tools in our crib. We might want to just pick 3 or 4 of those tools out. So we'll choose the large file first, which is the one we've downloaded. We'll do the IDC tools again. And then the destination tool file is usually the crib. So let's take a look and documents. That's right. Okay, so I go to my document folder and there's my sample tools. I'll open that up and load files. Now on the right here, you see that the sample files only has MDF tools, while I have all of my tools over here on the left-hand side. So let's say I want to take the beast and move it over to there. All you have to do is double click on it and it moves it automatically to here. Now let's say I want to take all of the ball files and move it over to there. You click on the category twice and all of the ball files have moved over. Now I can remove some of these if I'm interested by just double clicking on this side, and it'll pull those particular ball files out. Now once you're all done, again, it's very simple. You do a save. It goes to the download modify tool system. You download this, bang, you are complete. So that's how that's done. Okay, then we got the adjust. And what the adjust does, this might be a work in progress, it may not. When you load your tools from your vendors, they come with a specific set of spindle and feet speeds. So that's okay because that's what the tool is designed for. But that may not necessarily be what your machine is capable of doing. So if they give you a 20,000 RPM spindle speed, and like in this particular case, your spindle speed is only 12,000, obviously the numbers aren't going to fly. So what we're doing is we're taking a file and comparing it against the machine that you specified. And once you specify what machine it is, you can then tell it to start adjustments. And what it will do is it goes through every single tool that's inside that file and will adjust it. So if your speed is 12,000 and you got a 20,000 RPM tool, it'll knock the tool down to 20,000 from 20,000 to 12,000 and then adjust the feed proportionally. So that should give you within the spec of your machine and give you the same cuts parameters for your tool on whatever material you're doing. Then the second part of the deal is you got this percentage instead of machine specs. So instead of looking at this, you say, I want all my tools to be 20% faster or 20% slower. And you do that by making this adjustment. 100% is really no change. If I go 150, that would increase my speed of my tool by that much. And if I decrease it to, let's say, 50, it would slow my tool down by 50%. And it would do all that to whatever the tool file is and still keep in check the fact that your machine itself has a limit as far as what it can handle. Okay, so that's really what that does for us. And we can go back here and we have machine specs. Now we've seen a little bit of that before, but we can have up to 10 machines and each one have different specifications. So you can see here, a lot of these are all different. So let's say I want, I can see that this one has a problem because there's two names that are the same, which doesn't happen anymore, but it did here. So I can go back to this other thing. Let's say I want to edit that. So I'm editing the other. It's a generic CNC, and maybe it's machine building 5. And I'm going to say it has a max spindle speed of 15,000. And the minimum speed that it can handle is 125. It has a maximum feed, let's say 700, and spindle power is a 2.2 kilowatt spindle power, even though I really don't do anything with that anymore. So I can do an update. All right, so go back to Chippy, let's go back to other, and you see that it's changed. You have a generic CNC in building 5. It's 15,000 RPM, and the maximum feeds, and the spindle power. All right. So that's a generic look at this, and we've had a lot of problems, and we're going to try to cover some of them in a little bit of a slide at the end here. Thank you for watching so far.